Long Island medium Theresa Caputo's son, Larry Caputo Jr., has been sued by his wife, Leah Munch. She claims that Larry aborted their child. After these accusations, Leah Munch decides to divorce and hands Larry over to the police. As a result of this incident, their marital relationship finally broke down, causing tension and unrest in the entire family. The Caputo family had always been surrounded by drama, but no one expected it to take such a dark turn. Larry Caputo Jr. and Leah Munch had once been the picture of happiness. Their grand wedding in Lake Como had been a dream, but dreams have a way of fading into reality. Their marriage had been shaky for months, but what happened next shattered everything. Leah had always wanted to start a family, but Larry wasn't ready. He had debts piling up, a failing business, and personal struggles he refused to admit. Then, one day, Leah discovered she was pregnant. Excited and hopeful, she thought this might bring them closer. But when she shared the news with Larry, his reaction was cold. "This isn't the right time," he had said. "We can't afford this." Leah had begged him to reconsider, but Larry was firm. A few weeks later, she mysteriously lost the baby. At first, she believed it was a tragic miscarriage. But then, whispers reached her ears. A close friend confided in her that Larry had secretly arranged for her pregnancy to be terminated without her consent. Betrayal turned into fury. Leah confronted Larry, but he denied everything, calling her paranoid and delusional. But Leah was relentless. She gathered evidence, sought legal advice, and filed a lawsuit against him. The accusations sent shockwaves through the Caputo family. Theresa Caputo was horrified. She had always stood by her son, but this was too much. She refused to speak to him. The entire family split into sides, some defending Larry, others supporting Leah. Meanwhile, Leah took the final step. She filed for divorce and handed Larry over to the police, accusing him of violating her rights and causing irreversible emotional damage. As Larry sat behind bars, the weight of his actions sank in. His marriage was over, his mother had abandoned him, and his life was in ruins. The once tight-knit Caputo family was now fractured beyond repair. And in the end, all that remained was silence. A family torn apart by lies, betrayal, and the irreversible consequences of one man's choices. However, it was a chilly December evening in Hicksville, Long Island. Snowflakes twirled in the golden glow of holiday lights, and Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, was busy preparing for her annual holiday gathering. This year was special. She wanted to bring warmth, healing, and a little bit of spiritual magic to those who needed it most. Her home was decked out in red and gold, candles flickering in every corner, and the scent of freshly baked cookies filling the air. As guests arrived, friends, family, and even a few strangers in need of comfort, Theresa greeted them with her signature big hair and even bigger heart. Among the guests was Lisa, a woman who had lost her mother just before Christmas the previous year. As soon as Lisa stepped inside, Theresa felt the familiar tingling sensation. Spirit was near. "Your mom is here," Theresa said softly, placing a comforting hand on Lisa's shoulder. "She's showing me a special ornament, a little angel." Lisa gasped, eyes filling with tears. "Oh my God, I have an angel ornament she gave me when I was little. I put it on the tree every year." Theresa smiled. "She wants you to know she sees it. She's still with you, especially during the holidays." Tears turned to laughter as stories and memories were shared. One by one, Theresa delivered messages from beyond, bringing joy to those who thought they'd never hear from their loved ones again. As the night went on, a sense of peace settled over the room. The spirit of Christmas wasn't just in the decorations or the food. It was in the love, the memories, and the connections that never truly faded. Theresa raised her glass to love that never dies, family that never leaves, and spirits that always shine bright. And in that moment, surrounded by warmth and love, the holiday magic truly came alive. However, Kelsey Grammer had always been skeptical about psychics, but something inside him told him to take a chance with Long Island medium Theresa Caputo. There were things left unsaid, emotions buried deep, and a longing for closure he couldn't ignore. As he walked into Theresa's cozy reading room, decorated with white candles and family pictures, he felt an unexpected wave of calmness. Theresa, with her signature big blonde hair and warm smile, greeted him. "Kelsey, sweetheart, your energy is strong today," she said, closing her eyes for a moment. Kelsey chuckled nervously. "I'm not sure what to expect." Theresa took a deep breath. "I have a male figure stepping forward, older, a strong presence. He's telling me he's very proud of you." Kelsey's heart skipped a beat. His father had been murdered when he was just a teenager. Could it be him? Theresa continued, "He's showing me a stage, a spotlight. He says he sees you performing, making people laugh and cry. He says he never got to tell you how proud he was." Kelsey swallowed hard. His father had never seen his success. His voice trembled as he asked, Does he forgive me for not being there?" Theresa's eyes welled up. "Oh, honey," he's shaking his head. "There's nothing to forgive. He says he was never angry. He just wants you to stop carrying that guilt." Tears streamed down Kelsey's face. Decades of buried pain surfaced in that moment. Theresa smiled softly. "There's a woman stepping forward now. Beautiful, graceful. She's showing me a piano. She's placing a hand on your shoulder." Kelsey gasped. His sister Karen. "Beautiful, graceful. She's showing me a piano. She's placing a hand on your shoulder." Kelsey gasped. His sister Karen had died tragically at a young age. They had shared a love for music. "She says she's always with you, Kelsey. She plays the piano for you in heaven. And she wants you to stop blaming yourself for what happened." Kelsey couldn't hold back anymore. He sobbed, letting out years of grief, yet feeling lighter than he had in a long time. As the reading ended, Theresa held his hand. "Your loved ones are always with you, sweetheart. They're at peace. It's time for you to be too." Walking out of the session, Kelsey looked up at the sky. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of peace. He whispered, "Thank you." And in that moment, he swore he could hear a piano playing in the distance. However, Theresa Caputo had spent years proving her gift to strangers, but one person remained unconvinced, her own father, Nicholas. A man of logic and reason, Nicholas had always been proud of his daughter, but dismissed her abilities as mere intuition and coincidence. One evening, Theresa decided to host a group reading at her parents' house in Long Island, hoping to finally reach her skeptical father. Close friends and family gathered in the cozy living room, where candles flickered, casting soft shadows on the walls. Theresa took a deep breath and let the energy flow. Almost immediately, she felt a presence, strong and familiar. "Dad," she said, her voice steady, "there's someone here for you." Nicholas crossed his arms, shaking his head. "Come on, Theresa. You know I don't believe in this stuff." But she pressed on. "It's Grandpa. He's showing me an old fishing rod. He says you used to go fishing together, just the two of you." Nicholas stiffened. His father had passed decades ago, and their fishing trips had been his most cherished memories. He never spoke about them to anyone, not even Theresa. "He's saying something about a silver pocket knife. He wants you to know he never meant to lose it." Nicholas' eyes widened. His father had once gifted him a silver pocket knife, but it had gone missing on one of their last fishing trips. He had always thought his father misplaced it. Theresa continued, "He says you were right. It fell between the wooden planks of the old dock. He searched for days, but never found it. He felt terrible." Nicholas' face softened. He had always been a man of facts, but this was something beyond logic. His father's words, his childhood memories. Theresa couldn't have known these things. A tear slipped down his cheek as he exhaled deeply. "All right, Theresa," he whispered, "maybe there's something to this after all." The room remained silent, the weight of the moment settling over them. Theresa smiled, knowing she had finally turned her biggest skeptic, not through persuasion, but through undeniable truth. However, James had never believed in the supernatural. A man of logic and science, he dismissed psychics as frauds preying on emotions. So when his sister dragged him to a live reading by Long Island medium Theresa Caputo, he rolled his eyes and crossed his arms, waiting for the show to begin. Theresa walked onto the stage, her signature blonde hair and warm energy filling the room. As she began to connect with spirits, people gasped and cried, overwhelmed by her messages. James remained unimpressed until she suddenly turned toward him. "You," she said, pointing directly at him. "The skeptic in the room. You don't believe in any of this, do you?" James chuckled, shaking his head. "Not a bit." Theresa smiled knowingly. "That's okay. Your grandfather's here, and he says you're just like him, stubborn and analytical." James froze. His grandfather, Robert, had always teased him about his skepticism. But that could be a lucky guess, right? Theresa continued. "He's showing me an old watch, a gold one. You keep it in your nightstand, but never wear it. He says it's because you're afraid it'll break." James felt his throat tighten. His grandfather's gold pocket watch had been left to him in the will, and he had indeed kept it tucked away, fearing it would get damaged. Theresa's voice softened. "He wants you to know he's proud of you. He sees how hard you work, how you doubt yourself sometimes. He says to stop being so afraid of what you can't explain." Tears welled in James' eyes. His grandfather had been his rock, the one person who always believed in him. He had never shared his insecurities with anyone, yet here Theresa was, speaking words that felt undeniably real. The audience watched in silence as James, the skeptic, wiped his tears and nodded. "Thank you," he whispered. Theresa smiled. "He's always with you. Now go wear that watch." For the first time in his life, James felt something beyond logic, something real, and just like that, he wasn't a skeptic anymore. However, it was a quiet evening in Theresa Caputo's home. She had just finished dinner and was sipping her tea when she felt an unusual chill in the air. It wasn't the kind of cold that came from an open window. It was something deeper, something she had felt before. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A familiar scent of lavender filled the room, and Theresa's heart skipped a beat. That was her grandmother's favorite scent. "Grandma?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. She reached for her phone, intending to text her mom about the strange experience. But before she could, the TV turned on by itself. Static filled the screen, for a moment before a soft, crackling sound emerged. Then, clear as day, she heard it, her grandmother's voice singing an old Italian lullaby. Tears welled in Theresa's eyes. That was the song her grandma used to sing to her when she was a child. The warmth of her presence washed over her, and she felt an overwhelming sense of peace. Taking a deep breath, Theresa smiled. "Thank you, Grandma. I know you're here." Always finding little ways to remind her that love never dies. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe.